What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production! All aboard!
I brought my pencil.
What do you wanna do with your life?
Walk on home, boy. Yeah.
Like anything gets the same like you did before. Make it ring, make it bleed, make it really suck.
What's up, Titterinos, and welcome back to Rank 'em All Van Halen edition. I'm one of your hosts, Brando, and Rank Master. Joining me, of course, is the one and only Podfather of Pod.
Feel like we've done this 3 times in the past 10 minutes, and my brain is a little bit scrambly, Brando. But how's it going, bro?
You know what? It's been all right. Things could be better, but they could be worse. But they're doing all right now because I'm sitting down to rank some tunes with my good friends and Nate, and of course, Joe. Good times, Grimes. How's it doing, bud?
Going on, fellas? Been a minute.
Has been a minute, and
Less of a minute since the last minute we minuted.
You are indeed
Legit.
correct. We are continuing down our trek of Van Halen down the discography. We are ready for OU812. But did you?
Which I think means we officially should start calling them Van Hagar.
Probably.
This is where the transition happens.
Absolutely. Of course, 5150 was the first album post 84, and we talked about how like a lot of that progression that they have, like those two albums to me are almost like brother and sister albums. Like they definitely have a lot of similarities between them. And as we coming into OU812, it starts to deviate a little bit with the sound, doesn't it? It starts to, I don't know, mature, get more mainstream. I'm not sure what you want to call it.
Those are not necessarily words I would use to describe OU812, but I have words for this album.
So the album came out on May 24th, 1988, and it was recorded between September 87 and April 88. Man, all these albums, all the Van Halen albums, they get done recording it, they put it out like the next month. Like they don't take a lot of time post.
What's post-production? Fuck it.
There were 4 singles on it, which we'll talk about when we get there. And all songs are written by Van Halen except for where noted. There is a cover on here at the very end of the album. And, of course, who's Van Halen? Who are they again? Who the
We got Michael Anthony as bass player. We got Sammy Hagar as lead singer. We got Eddie Van Halen on guitar and Alex Van Halen on those drummies. But also we should mention Edward Van Halen also synthesizes. Wow.
It debuted, I'm not sure if it debuted, but it peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200. And it sold 4 times platinum in the United States. So 4 million sold. A little bit of a step down, I think, from the previous 2. But, you know, it is what it is. I think we noted that 5150 was the first album to go to number 1 because 84 came out the same release window as Thriller. Yeah. So they literally had no chance. But the name of the album is actually supposedly a response to David Lee Roth's 86 solo album, Eat 'Em and Smile. And
Yeah, it was supposed to be. Wasn't it originally titled "Eat Me"?
Yeah, Eat Me and Smile. But yeah. So he had to change it to Eat 'Em and Smile. OU812 is seen in Cheech and Chong's next movie on a license plate, and so it's a big joke and all that jazz. The track listing on the back cover is arranged in alphabetical order instead of sequence.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Really?
But like that's not that doesn't make any sense because then like if you just see the song like names, then they're not in order. I don't own a physical copy of the album. Of course, when we rank all of these, you know, we definitely rank them as far as we try to make it to where, hey, if we're going to select something to rank, it's going to be pretty accessible. So modern day accessibility is YouTube and streaming services.
Yeah.
So I listen to it on Spotify, but
Same.
this is where, I don't know if you guys noticed, this is where the average song length starts going up.
Oh, yeah, and it gives a trend that continues into the next album as well.
Yes, and so, like, before we were, like, the 3-minute, maybe 4-minute range. Now we are definitely 5 approaching 6 minutes.
Yeah.
For a lot of these tracks. And I don't know about you, for some of, Cabo Wabo is on this album. It's 7 minutes. I'm not a guy that dislikes long songs, but I don't know. Maybe it's my own opinion. Maybe I'm kind of speaking too soon. Maybe I'm giving away a spoiler for my own thoughts. Maybe some of these could have been trimmed down a little bit.
No, for sure.
I have, like I said, okay, I wrote notes for this album like I did last album. And yet again, there is an interesting thing I noticed with this album is that there's a lot of good, and very much like early Van Halen, there's sprinkled in there's a lot of mediocre or not so good. So it's like when you do have a song that really stands out next to a song that really doesn't, the song that stands out is like, fucking, that's the goldenest shit. Like, you could have wrote 10 more of those on this album and I would have bought 1,000 more copies. But this one I'm really excited to talk about because there are good things, there are bad things, and I think they're all worth mentioning. So we should probably jump right into the first track, which is Mine All Mine.
Yeah, let's go for it. Mine All Mine opens up the album. It is not a single, but it's the album
Thank
opener.
God.
Yeah, well, I gotta get my notes because they're on my phone.
Okay, well, while you get your notes, I'll throw my little quick review together. This song, to me, did not make a whole lot of sense. You're Van Halen. You just released 5150. This is the next thing you're saying to your fans. This is pre-internet era, so there's a bunch of, hype of people just excited for whatever the next Van Halen thing is. And in my opinion, this song is unenjoyably mellow and totally letting me down. I was just like, what am I about to listen to? Like, this is not my Van Halen. What?
I have on my notes, return of video game sounds. There was a song a while back. I don't remember if it's been a while since we recorded, so I can't remember if it was 5150. It might have been on there, but there was a song that we kind of said that could have been on like a video game.
Inside.
Yeah. So I said return of video game sounds. This could be an F-Zero or Mega Man track.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I took away from it. And then that's all I've got in my notes. So I didn't hate it.
Literally,
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, exactly. I had the same feeling that like there's really not much to it. I mean, yeah, besides the NES sounds. I mean, it was all right. I didn't hate it, but yeah, there's really not much you can say about this one, honestly.
All right, then. If there's not much more to say, Nate, would you give it?
5.5.
5.5.
Not a great opening track.
Joe, how about you?
Oh, yeah, I'm right with Nate. I'm a 5.5 on that one.
I gave it a 7.75. I enjoyed the video game sounds. Track 2, When It's Love. Single? Is it a single? Yes, it is. It was the second single released in June of '88. When It's Love. I'll go first this time. On my notes, it says, starts as a Whitesnake ballad?
Definitely get those vibes.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
I knew the hook. It's catchy. It sounds like it's more from the 5150 more style. It really seems like this album, it brings some of that 5150ness with it, but it kind of also starts departing from it at the same time. Like some of that feel is still there, but it's a little bit more progressed. The band seems more palatable with Sammy. With him being the front man and singing the lyrics, there's a lot less vaudeville. There's a lot less of the showmanship here. And my last note is a note that I laugh every time I see it. Good solo, because there's a lot of good Eddie Van Halen solos, but it's a pretty decent solo. How about Joe? We go to you next. When It's Love, what'd you think?
It's kind of funny. Like, this is a song. I mean, I always kind of enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites, but as we were talking about when they did Dreams and being on that, on the Power Rangers movie, I always thought like that's another one they could have put in there just for a spot for Kimberly and Tommy. Like there could have been a segment. I don't know why, but I always thought that's just another one that would have been perfect in that. But other than that, like, yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. It's another one I feel like is just kind of mediocre.
So I can't remember off the top of my head, because there's like 2 ballads on here, right? Or is there just one? And there's another ballad on the. I think this is the only. Okay, so is this the one where it starts off soft?
Feels
Yeah.
So Good is kind of is ballady, but isn't full blown
Okay.
ballad.
So
Yeah.
is this where it starts soft? And he's like, ha! Sammy does that a lot to key in like when the band kicks in, just like the, like we were talking about in previous episode recordings with Dave making his noises. Ugh. Then you got Sammy. Ha! Have mercy.
Legit.
Nate, what'd you think about When It's Love?
When It's Love is a song to me that, yet again, look at what we've done. Van Halen writing a song that's a really good ballady love tune. Most powerful chorus probably on the album as far as like memorable, sing-alongable, enjoyable. I don't know what the words exactly that you would use would be. But I personally think that this is one of the best songs on the entire album. For the album not having a ton of gold, as it were, this is definitely a bright spot early, which gave me hope. After the first track, I'm like, I don't know about this. Second track, I'm like, okay, they're doing their ballad thing. Like, I get it. Maybe they're gonna start to smack us with some power, which I wasn't necessarily wrong about. But yeah, I liked What It's Love.
Okay, then, Joe, we'll start with you. What's your rank?
I gave that one a 6.
6. How about you, Nate?
7.5.
0.5. I'm at an 8. I like the song. Thought it was good. The next track, I have one line of notes for the next track. It's AFU, Naturally Wired. I believe it stands for All Fired Up.
Yeah.
Because not all effed up. But I have one line. I said it's got pretty good drum intro.
I also have a single line in my notes for this song, and it just literally says maybe should have opened with that one. Like, I thought that song was much more enjoyable than Mine and All Mine. I thought it would be definitely a more poignant, kick you in the teeth kind of Van Halen grasp you sound. So yeah, maybe she should have opened with that one.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I definitely. I don't know, because it's also just kind of more forgettable. I feel like the music from the opening track was a little bit more catchy than the actual words of the chorus or anything like that. Like like as soon as I keyed in on this is a F-Zero track or playing Super Nintendo, I was really digging that part of it. But what about you, Joe? What do you think about AFU?
I really only have like one thing to say. I did not get all fired up about this one. Like, it wasn't. It's like what you're saying. It's something I think it's going to be forgettable. Like, what was like on one of the previous albums? I had one that I didn't think I was going to remember, and the more I listened to it, I'm like, oh, it's really catchy, and it ended up being one of my favorites. But it didn't happen with this one. I listened to this album several times, and it's just kind of like I did like it. It's not that I didn't like it, but it's just not. It's just their same like run of the mill stuff that nothing really stood out from it,
Right on. And Nate, what'd you give this one?
I gave AFU an 8.
An 8. How about you, Joe?
7.
7. I gave it a 6.75. The next song.
Right around this.
Yeah. We're all kind of around the same era there. Same area.
Yeah.
Cabo Wabo. The longest song on the entire record.
Lost me. Holy crap.
And I wrote, good tone and harmonies. Sounds about middle of the road for this era. Not bad, not great. It's got a jam part, kind of jammy. But considering that he named his club Cabo Wabo, and
his tequila line is
Cabo Wabo.
It's an advertisement.
I mean, I understand if this is like something that he really feels close to or whatever. I'm not going to take that away. but I also, for as long as the song is, I also don't think it's that great. Like I kind of agree. It lost me.
Yeah, it's this song to me was way better from that solo to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because up and until that, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Did they tell Sammy to just write a Sammy Hagar song? And he was sort of writing a Sammy Hagar song because he wanted to be in Van Halen, and they just wanted him to be Sammy, and he just wanted to be in Van Halen. So he kind of came up with this kind of middle of the road thing, you know. I really struggled wanting to continue to listen to the rest of the album just because of this song.
Yeah.
Not to say that it was like it did it in for me and I'll never listen to it again, but like this was not something that encouraged me to continue through the listen to. It kind of soured my my enjoyment, actually.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, this one definitely didn't really ruin the album for me, but after I had listened to the album several times, and it was painful, like not to skip this track every time. And like I think literally the last time, just to kind of give myself a quick reminder of what each song sounded like, I think as soon as this started, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I was like, I'm not sitting through that one again, man. It just, oh my gosh, I don't know why I was so irritated with this song, man, but I did not dig it at all. Didn't do a thing for me.
Would you rank it, Nate?
5.
Joe?
4.
I gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 6.
Damn it, Brandon, you're supposed to go 3.
I know, but
Yeah, I was hoping, please God.
no, not quite. The next track, Source of Infection.
Probably get that checked out.
You might want to. We'll start with Joe this time. What do you think about Source of Infection?
Dude, for me, this was like an album saver because, like, coming off Cabo Wabo, I was like, oh my God, please don't let it get worse from here. Like, if you listen to it, it had a real Hot for Teacher vibe almost. Like, as far as like the drumming goes, if you listen to that, and I just like with Brandon smirking there, like he knows exactly. But also, I mean, it was great. They let Alex be Alex, go loose on the kit. They let Eddie do his thing. They let Mike do his thing. I mean, it was, I think, Sam's Hot for Teacher. And I think they can like nailed it, dude. They drove that shit out the park. I loved it, man. I'm telling you what, that got me on such a high right in the middle of this album.
I just got to say real quick how hilarious it is to me that Joe's like, David Lee Roth got this song called Hot for Teacher. It's like dope. Hot for Teachers, talking about banging the teacher. Sammy got his called Source of Infection. It's just like, oh, that is not the same, my friend.
No, that's definitely not the same.
Maybe the teacher is the source of the infection.
Oh, ew.
No.
She's messing around too many young boys in school.
Oh.
Okay, lyrically, it wasn't his.
What'd you think, Nate?
That's funny.
Source of Infection was a total jam. Like,
Yes.
man, I was like, fuck yes. This is my Van Halen. Like, the Mine All Mine, not my Van Halen. Source of Infection. My Van Halen. Like, it's perfect.
Damn it.
It should have been the album opener.
Oh, by far. Yes, for sure.
And I wrote that in my notes over when I had wrote AFU because it maybe should have been the album opener, but definitely Source of Infection would have been a killer. They maybe should have renamed it, but then the lyrics would have had to been changed. There's a lot of reasons they didn't do that. Anyways,
I wrote classic Van Halen jam vibe, complete with vocal weirdness. Like, this is probably so far the weirdest that Sammy has gotten with his vocals. Drums are great, and the last line I have for my notes, not so hot for teacher. So,
Okay.
like, we're on the same vibe there. No, I absolutely love this. I thought it was one of the better tracks on the entire album. And the fact that it opens up side 2 if you're on the vinyl, as you said, coming off of Cabo Wabo, and the first half of this album is literally sprinkled in here. We have they're trying to be palatable, just like I said before. They're trying to reach into that mainstream. They're trying to. I don't want a direct comparison too, because that's not fair. But when you look at Def Leppard and the path they went on and where they started versus when they decided to go mainstream and write more radio palatable hits, and thus be more successful, sell more tickets, sell more albums. Why else are you in this business? What are you there to do? You're there to make money. Let's be real. You know, any musician that says they're in it for the music doesn't make money. You have to, at some point, I'm not saying you have to sell out or do that. Some bands do, and they make a killing off of it, and they do great. Even some of their sellout stuff is still amazing. You don't have to do that, but you've got to be mindful and run it as a business and be like, look, we have this album. We need a song that's going to probably get us on some radio play. You know, and so if you write a whole album and think about yourself like that, at least one song get on the radio, and then we can market it. We can make a video. Nowadays, videos aren't like video length is not as a big a deal as it was way back in the 80s. But still, like back in the 80s, MTV was huge for selling music. If you turn on, like, especially when they released 84, there's Hot for Teacher. You know, there's a fun one. There's Jump. You know, there's Panama. Then there was, you know, like, so like it's along those lines, and I kind of feel like Source of Infection, like, man, they brought it back around. I gave Source of Infection an 8. How about you, Nate?
Also, an 8.
Joe?
8.
Straight 8s. Straight 8s. That is so far the highest averaged song ranking on the album.
We got to the Source of the Infection.
And what sucks,
I'm never gonna hear the end of that one.
What sucks is that, you know, that isn't a single, and it's one of the shorter tracks on the entire album. It's just right under 4 minutes. So like, definitely
keep it simple, stupid.
Right. So the next track, Feels So Good, was the last single, January of '89. Feels So Good. We'll start with Nate. What'd you think about Feels So Good?
One line, I wrote quintessential 80s love vibes. The intro of this, literally, I was like, oh, this is where Stranger Things stole their idea musically from. Cool. Like, at least we know for sure now it's right from this track. Like, this is definitely where it came from. But Feels So Good is is a really weird song, because to me, like, the verses were cool and like they had this certain energy, and then it like transitions to a love ballad in the middle of the song for the chorus. Like, not that it's a bad thing, it's just like I feel like they forced the love song on that one when they could have made it about anything else and it would have been 10 times better.
I put weird sounding keys. I thought the keyboards were weird sounding to me, and they were too loud in the mix that it overpowers some good rhythm and vocals. So, like, where there's a good song in here, I don't think it was mixed very well. And actually, over on the Wikipedia page, because that's where I get some of my information, Eddie Van Halen agrees with me. He expressed his opinion that the record was not mixed as well as he would have liked. Sonically, it was shit. So, yeah, there you go. Some criticisms of the album notes the bass guitar parts are of a low level in the mix compared to vocals and other instruments. There's been a speculation that the presence of bass guitar may have been related to Van Halen brothers' rumored growing animosity towards bassist Michael Anthony. In later years, he would be forced out of the band and his songwriting credits removed or altered. I did not know that part. But in this case, I felt like this song was very badly mixed, and that affected my enjoyment of it greatly. Other than that, like it has the makings of a good song and it has a pretty decent solo. But Joe, how about Feel So Good? Did this song make you feel so good?
It did not. It made me feel not so good. I mean, like, literally, man, like I'm flying high on this Source of Infection. You know, and then,
you got fever.
You got a fever high. Oh shit! I'm gonna really get that out now.
It didn't make me feel so good. No, literally, like I was on a rush from Source of Infection, and as soon as this one hit, it was just like it was a downward slope, man. I'm like, damn it, here we go. You know, like I thought after a Source of Infection, I'm like expecting it to go like further and further, but then just it just dropped me, man. I lost all the adrenaline going into this one. Didn't dig it.
What'd you rank it?
I gave this one a 4.
A 4. How about you, Nate?
6.5.
I also gave it a 6.5.
Hey.
The next song is probably the most successful song on the entire album, the third single, Finish What You Started, September 88. My notes are pretty short on this one. I said it's a pretty chill vibe compared to some of the other ones. This isn't a ballad, but it's a different kind of jam. If you listen to country music in 88, it has a different feel to it. It's a very like a George Strait or Randy Travis. You know, I'm not some of the bigger country artists. It's not what this is, but if you listen to more modern country music that isn't infused with pop music, if you get what I mean, like it has like all the modern pop, tricks and everything in there. I get a country feel from this one. Like it's a little bit like more of a picky and twangy vibe to it. Mm-hmm. And I also put that this is one of the songs that you think of when you think of Van Hagar. Like when you think of this era of the band, is this maybe their best single? Probably not, but it's one of those that's in the mix of Hagar songs. It's catchy. It's very, very palatable, chill. It's not that big rockin' source of infection. It's the exact opposite. But that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. I actually really like this song still. And I'm going to shoot over to Joe. What'd you think about Finish What You Started?
This is another one I've always enjoyed. I do like the all-around simplicity of it. I mean, here you've got with Alex, we know what Alex can do on the kit. We know like everything he can utilize, everything on his kit. But this is like an example of like less is more. Like, okay, we know you can do all this fancy technical shit, but like, bring it back a little bit. Keep it nice and simple. Adding the acoustic guitar with Sammy, like we don't see him do a lot like instrumentally. It's like all about vocals with him. And like just an example of making simple shit work. And it did. Like it's a nice groove. I've always dug this song, and there's not much to it. Like, it's something also like an average player could jam along to. It's nothing like you have to be super experienced to be able to play along with it too. Mm-hmm. And all around, I just think it's such a badass song for as simple as it is. I really enjoy it.
What about you, Nate?
I feel like this song, something neither of you guys have actually said. It has amazing, and I know we don't get to use this word often because it's every song, but amazing guitar work. Amazing dog barks.
Amazing dog barks.
Hey man, that's podcasting life, man.
But also I think this song is lyrically super groovy. Mm-hmm. And my favorite part in the song is that chicken picking mini solo towards the end. He just gets it. I'm just like, hot damn, Eddie. Here we go, baby. About to put some fire on that shit. And then he actually does not cut loose with the solo. Like he teases a solo. It's like over the pants HJ style. He's teasing you, but he doesn't actually, give the full bacon.
The zipper does not come down.
It does not. You would be very chafed. So you're probably about to ask me the question, Brando. Well, Nate, what did you rank it?
What'd you rank it?
8.5. The song's the shit. Come on now.
All right. How about you, Joe?
8.5.
8.5. 8.5 is what I ranked it as well.
Nice.
Straight 8s, straight 8.5s. So the next song, Black and Blue, you know what? When I first listened to it, I enjoyed it. And I said it was B-side vibes, good vocal harmonies, bonus points for the cowbell during the solo. But when I was kind of giving like a quick re-listen, I'm like, man, this sounds like it could be a single. Well, I'll be flabbergasted. It was the first single.
What?
This was the first single in May of 88. This was before Finish What You Started. And I'm just like,
this was my 1 year. Okay. I just turned 1 year old, and this is the piece of shit they dumped out.
Oof. I take it you don't like.
He's a little baby.
You don't like Black and Blue?
I didn't have any notes for it. I couldn't write anything. I literally could not think of any opinion on the song when I listened. I was just like, I have my rank. That's what I think about the song.
I enjoyed it a lot more when I was kind of like, because I gave it one ranking and I bumped it up, not a whole lot, just a little, like almost maybe,
A scotch, just a smidge.
Maybe just above a skosh, just above a skosh.
Okay, then I think I blew this ranking out the.
Well, okay.
I think I blew this one.
Well, I mean, you blew up the entire album of '84, so I'm not surprised by anything anymore by what you ranked.
I know.
But
Yeah.
If 1984 would have had silent tracks like Korn's "Follow the Leader," he would have been like, "Give it a fucking 10."
10. You get a 10. You
Give
get
it a fucking 10.
You get a
Look under
10.
your
Everybody
seats.
gets a 10.
Under your seats, you get a 10. Oh
I
shit!
got a fucking 10.
Oh, dude, I wish he was still in here. I have my
I have a 10 on my shirt. 10.
well, I have a work 10-year anniversary like plaque thing. I could have actually reached a big number 10.
Damn it.
I need to
was
get that for like
perfect.
future ranks. That way I could hold it up. But yeah, Black and Blue, I enjoyed it a little bit more just this afternoon when I was trying to like brush up because it's been a while since I ranked these songs before we've actually recorded this episode. So I'm like, okay, I remember some of this. I remember some of that. I have my notes here. I could try to refresh myself about why I think, what I thought when I wrote the notes. And I'm like, I'm liking this as a skosh more. I gave it a 7.75. We'll go to Joe. No. We won't go to Joe next. We'll go to Nate. We'll make the valley before we hit the peak.
I just gave it a 7.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just didn't know what
I
to
guess
write
we're not
about the
far off.
fucking song.
Okay.
I don't hate the song. I don't love the song. It's just
I
could not write. No, I don't know if I just like shit the bed with my brain or what. I just literally could not think of a single word to say about
when
it.
we're done with it, just go give it another listen. I think it's a pretty cool jam. It's not as good as Source of Infection, but I originally gave it a 7 as well. And I had to just, it's a pretty cool B-side, and that's all I put. Today, I'm like,
The Black and Blue was the Source of Infection.
Woof. There we go.
Okay, done with that.
What'd you give it, Joe?
Actually, you know what? So I'm not far off from you guys. I thought you guys were going to be a lot lower the way you're all talking about it. I did give it an 8.
Okay.
For me,
not
this
too bad.
this was this for me was like actually more about nostalgic. Kind of like what I talked about, like growing up listening to this kind of stuff. I love the main riff of this song, but I like the raw sound of it. Growing up in a music store, we had one of the rooms was full of guitar amps. People could bring in their guitars, try out an amp before they, bought it and everything. And like the main riff, it just reminds me of just somebody sitting in there with a guitar, plugging straight into an amp and just fiddling around with whatever. And that's the sound you get. It didn't sound like a lot of editing, a lot of other crap on top of it, no special effects. It literally just sounded like Eddie's got his guitar plugged in, they have a microphone and the amp, and that's what you get. I just love that raw sound. There's nothing fake about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just added a lot to it. It's not a difficult song. It's not anything really complex, but I think for me, it was just mostly about the sound of that song. So I give that one an 8.
Okay. I mean, yeah, as I said, I kind of bumped it up just a little bit just this afternoon. I gave it a little bit of, and that's the benefit of hindsight and from having listened to it before. And maybe sometimes, when we throw our rank down and we ink it, 100%, maybe, when we do some of these ranks, maybe we're a little too rash when we think about it. And maybe sometimes songs grow on us, the songs, lose some of their luster with us. But
Right.
This next song was actually the last song on the cassette and vinyl pressings of the record. Sucker in a
it was.
3-piece. And Sucker in a 3-piece,
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes, they found their vibe. They've officially have found their vibe. Sounds more like what we've heard. Not a bad thing, but now it's getting predictable. Album seems more balanced at songwriting. There's more energy flowing throughout the entirety of the album. I feel a lot more consistent and balanced energy from this album than I do from almost any of the Roth albums, save maybe 84. To me, there's not really a terrible song here. I know I noticed that in my rankings I don't have anything that really ranks terrible. Maybe just not memorable or great, or maybe it's just not even really good. It's inching good. But I also wrote that this song has more of a rocking vibe song, but not quite a Panama. We're not
Right.
quite a Panama. But I enjoyed the song overall. Well, I'll shoot it over to Joe. We'll go to Joe next. What do you think about Three Piece?
I had one thing written for this, and it's 2 words: filler song.
Filler song.
That's really I kind of like what Nate was with it, Black and Blue. Like I struggled trying to figure out what to say for this, and that's literally all I could think about. Like filler song. They needed, well, yeah, like what you said on the cassette and the vinyl. This was the last song. Like, oh, we need one more. It's I mean, not to the fact like where Warrant, where they said, hey, you need one song to make the album. He said he wrote Cherry Pie in 5 minutes, and then next thing the whole album is Cherry Pie, and that's all people want to hear. But this is just one of those, yeah, like, hey, we need one more song to get this album out. Okay, and there's nothing to it.
What about you, Nate?
To me, Sucker in a Three-Piece, the first thing that caught my brain meats was the funny subject matter. Like it's kind of a song about a jealous guy who's just like, how the fuck is that? Why does that lady want that sucker in a 3-piece? Like he's a nobody. Look at me, type thing. Musically, it was okay, but it was one of those songs that, again, it's Van Halen having fun. I will say it is interesting. This is the last song on a couple versions of the album, considering the actual last song we're about to cover. I have really interesting notes for now, finding out it was not the true outro of the album. Changes my viewpoints entirely. But Sucker in a 3-piece could have been put probably in the middle of the album, though. You could have maybe put Mine All Mine as your last track. There could have been. This album suffers from poor track placement. I think you could have rearranged this album, and maybe for fun we can do this in our own time, rearrange it for ourselves and send what we would do. But there are other variations of this where you could have put the songs differently and it would have kicked more. It would have had more impact. I think people would have walked away enjoying it more.
No, not another variant.
Definitely a variant. Definitely a variant.
What'd you rank it, Nate?
I gave Sucker in a 3-piece 6.5.
Joe?
5.
I gave it a 7. I thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, it's right there. It's like, man, this is a cool rockin' track. The last song though is a cover. Not a stranger to doing covers are Van Halen, as we've discovered. Political Blues. Is that not hard to say?
Political Blues. Yeah, I think that it's. I looked at this track like 100 times, and I didn't realize it was a cover. It makes more sense now that it's a cover. My initial impression of the title was that it was like Alcohol Anonymous.
Yes.
Like
oh my God, I was about
political.
to say. Yes.
Political blues. Yes. And I don't know lyrically if that necessarily. I was really just enjoying musically what was going on, that I didn't really pay attention to lyrically what was happening so much. But yeah, Political Blues, man. It's a fun little track. I wrote that it is a return to form of them doing unique outros, which sucks that it wasn't the true outro. It's like, fucking should have just committed, damn it. It would have been great. But of course, length of time for the cassette and stuff is probably what held them back for sure.
So this is a Lowell George cover, and I wrote, it's a tone change from the rest of the album, but for a bonus song, that's not necessarily out of left field. Mix seems a bit jumbled, but that's for the whole album as a whole. And great playing all around, and on a jam vibe, it's not bad. Those are my notes, and that's all I've got to really say about the song. Joe?
Not much. I got another baseball reference. There's swing and a miss for me. I really didn't dig it. Literally just no wonder it was left off the cassette and the vinyl. It wasn't time constricted. It was like, let's just not put this on here. And then somebody found it and said, hey, let's put it on Spotify.
It was on the CD. CDs were relatively
Or a CD.
becoming
Spotify,
popular. So I think them doing a bonus track for the CD at the time was a hey, buy the CDs now.
Give them reason.
Yeah. So Joe, what'd you rank it since it was a miss?
I did a 3.
Wow, a 3.
Yep.
You're lowest. How about you, Nate?
Oh shit, hit the wrong one. Hold on. Pause. I gave it an 8.
And definitely a little far apart on this one. 3 and an 8. I gave it a 6.75. And ladies and gentlemen, that's our album. That's OU812. Brando, had an average of 7.35. Nate had an average of 7.05. And Joe had an average of 5.9, making the master rank of OU812 a 6.76. So definitely lower than 5150. It's. I did think that this was a little bit of a step down from that, but that was almost to be expected as they actually started writing together more. It was going to be a different feel. The highest ranking song on the album for an average was "Finish What You Started" at a 8.5 because we all gave it 8.5s.
8.5. Yeah.
And the lowest. What was the lowest? What do you think? Take a guess. Quick.
Cabo Wabo.
Cabo Wabo. 5.16. So
Okay.
that's OU812, and we definitely ate that one up and spat it back out because it was not. I mean,
It'll come out the other end too,
Yeah,
possibly. I'm just
well,
saying.
yeah.
maybe
That was
now
your
I
source
crapped
of
one out.
infection.
So it's definitely not the lowest ranking album that we've done, but it's also not the highest. We're not going to go through every single one. If you've been following along, well, you know what they've been. But
That's middle of the road.
I kind of feel like it's easily so far the second best Sammy Hagar album.
That's not fair. You can't do that. It's only the second.
I know, but
If you would have said it was third best, I would have been fucking confused up to this point. Like,
Exactly. I was like, wait, what? Okay.
no, but it just I kind of felt like in comparison to the last two, like I almost want to go back. Obviously our album average for 84 is definitely inflated. So I mean, it is what that is, and there's a sizable
The source of infection.
There's definitely some white blood cells swimming around that one, but there's definitely a decline happening, and it makes me wonder what's going to happen next on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
fuck.
Yeah, the next album featuring Sammy Hagar and the rest of the band will be the next album that we rank here on the show. But yeah, this has been OU812. Nate, Joe, thank you once again for joining me on this trek down Van Halen's discography.
Thanks for having me back on yet again.
Yeah, definitely always a pleasure, guys.
Yes, and of course you can always check out Rank 'Em All at rankemall.rocks. You can check them out, us out on all the podcasting services around the globe. Pick your favorite one. If we're not there, let us know. Reach out on social medias. We're at Rank 'Em All podcast and all that stuff on Twitters, the Instagrams. I gotta post some more pictures. In fact,
Check the out.
yeah, and check us out on Facebook as well. You can also interact with us on there and let us know what your favorite songs are and all that shit and how your stuff ranked. We love hearing from every single one of you guys. But if there's nothing else, I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
That's that, my friends.
Well, anyways, we have had a little bit of scheduling conflicts for recording this, to say the least. But we're going to try and get that rectified as quickly as possible and get all of these two. Of course, for you guys hearing this, hopefully there's no interruption. But for us, it's been like, man, we really got to finish what we're starting here. And that's what we're going to do going into next week for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. See you later, guys.
Finish what you started.